Okay, so you know how sometimes you get those totally unexpected deposits in your bank account? Like maybe a payment arrives early or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Well, what if I told you that those pleasant surprises might become a bit more, shall we say, predictable in the near future?
Ooh, intriguing. You got my attention.
That's what this deep dive is all about today. We've been taking a close look at some pretty interesting economic signals, and let me tell you, there are some hints that more of those welcome financial boosts could be heading our way.
I love where this is going. So what kind of intel are we talking about here?
Well, remember that economic commentary video you shared with me?
Oh yeah, the one with the deep dive into the latest economic data.
That's the one. We've been dissecting it, and it's got some pretty eye-opening insights. Our mission today is to unpack all that juicy information and see what it could mean for your wallet.
Sounds good to me. Let's break it down.
Right off the bat, the video paints a picture of an economic landscape that's been changing really fast. Like, buckle up your seatbelts kind of fast.
I can definitely relate to that. Things have felt a little shaky lately, haven't they?
For sure. And the video backs that up, pointing to several economic indicators that have been flashing some warning signs. It specifically focuses on those monthly jobs reports. You know, the non-farm payroll numbers we always hear about.
Right, right. Those are always a big deal.
Well, the video's analysis shows a pretty clear trend throughout late 2024. Basically, the reported job gains were not only shrinking each month, but also being revised downwards later on.
So wait, they were initially saying more jobs were being added than actually were.
Exactly. It's like they were overestimating the strength of the job market and then having to correct themselves.
That's a bit worrying, isn't it?
It is. And the video speaker even uses the word bifurcation to describe this. You've got these increasingly negative job reports happening at the same time as we're still hearing claims about a strong economy. Kind of a mixed message, don't you think?
Definitely. It's like the economy is trying to tell us two different stories at the same time.
Exactly. And the video doesn't just stop there. It also digs into what the Federal Reserve has been doing with interest rates.
Ah, the Fed. Always a hot topic.
And the video speaker doesn't hold back on their opinion. They flat out argue that the Fed has been keeping those rates too high for too long in its fight against inflation.
So they're saying the Fed might actually be contributing to a slowdown.
That's their take. They believe these high interest rates could be putting the brakes on the economy.
Makes sense. When it costs more to borrow money, businesses and people tend to spend less, which can slow things down.
Right. And all of this leads to that big, scary R word that nobody really wants to talk about, recession.
Oh, here we go.
The video reminds us of the technical definition, 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth, meaning the economy is actually shrinking.
Right, right. I remember that from Econ 101.
But here's the catch.
Yeah.
There's usually a lag before we get those official numbers and confirmations.
So we might already be in a recession and not even know it yet.
That's exactly what the video speaker suggests. They speculate that a recession might have actually started as far back as October 2024.
Wow. That's pretty bold.
It is. And they base this on that pattern of weakening and downwardly revised jobs data we talked about earlier. They see those labor market signals as early warning signs.
Okay, so if they're right, why wouldn't they just come right out and say we're in a recession? Why the delay?
Well, the video delves into that too. It's not just about number crunching. There's a psychological element involved.
You mean like people freaking out if they officially hear the word recession?
Precisely. The concern is that making a formal announcement could actually make things worse by shaking people's confidence and causing them to tighten their belts even further.
Like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? If everyone thinks the economy is going down the drain, they'll stop spending and that'll actually make it go down the drain.
Exactly. And the Fed would definitely be worried about that. They're all about keeping the economy stable, and they wouldn't want to do anything that could make things worse.
So we've got a potentially weakening economy, a Fed that might be overdoing it with the interest rate hikes, and the possibility that we're already in a recession. This isn't exactly a cheery picture, is it?
Not exactly. But now, let's talk about the silver lining here, the potential for those unexpected deposits we teased at the beginning. The video calls them stimulus checks, but officially they're called economic impact payments, or EIPs.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff.
Right. This is where things could get really interesting for your personal finances.
I'm all ears.
So, the video explains that the main goal behind these EIPs is to basically give the economy a shot in the arm during a downturn.
I see. So it's not just about helping people out financially, it's about trying to jumpstart the economy as a whole.
Exactly. When the economy slows down, The idea is to get money directly into people's hands so they can go out and spend it, which helps businesses and keeps things moving.
Makes sense. So more money in people's pockets means more spending, which means a boost for the economy.
That's the theory.
Yeah.
And the video points out a pretty consistent pattern. When the economy starts sputtering, lawmakers tend to respond with these massive spending bills. We've seen packages worth trillions of dollars in recent years, and those often include those direct payments, those EIPs, landing right in people's bank accounts.
I remember those. They definitely provided some much-needed relief for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And while helping individuals and families is certainly part of the equation, the bigger goal is really to try to get the economy back on track and prevent a deeper, more painful recession.
So are they saying that if things keep heading south, we could see those EIPs making a comeback?
Well, the video uses a really powerful example to illustrate how quickly things can happen when there's a perceived crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Think back to early 2020 when the pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah. That was a whirlwind.
It was. In mid-March 2020, Congress passed the CARES Act, that huge $2.3 trillion relief package.
Right. That was the one with the first round of stimulus checks.
Exactly. And get this. Those initial $1,200 payments started hitting people's accounts just a few weeks later, in April.
Wow, that was fast.
It was, and that's the point the video is making. When the situation is serious enough, the government can act with surprising speed to get these financial relief measures in place.
So they're saying it wouldn't be a long, drawn-out process. If they decide to do it again, those payments could arrive pretty quickly.
That's the takeaway.
So what should we be watching for? What are the signs that might suggest those early payments or unexpected deposits could be on the horizon?
Well, the video highlights one key indicator: the Federal Reserve.
Ah, the Fed again. They really are at the center of everything, aren't they?
It seems that way, and here's why. The video's speaker stresses that any hint of the Fed considering emergency rate cuts should be taken very seriously.
Emergency rate cuts, what would that even mean?
Think about it. Right now, the Fed is deliberately keeping those rates high to try and tame inflation. If it were to suddenly reverse course and start talking about emergency cuts, that would be a huge red flag.
So it would basically mean they see the economy in serious trouble and need to take drastic measures to prevent a meltdown.
Exactly. And the video suggests that such a move by the Fed, or even serious discussions about it, would be a major warning sign that things are getting really bad. And historically, those kinds of situations have often been followed by government intervention, including those financial relief measures we've been talking about.
I see. So the Fed holds the keys to the kingdom, in a way.
In a way, yes. And to bring it back to you, the listener, the video wraps up by assuring us that they're going to be watching all these indicators very closely: jobs data, GDP growth, and especially anything coming out of the Fed.
And they'll be on the lookout for any rumblings about new financial relief measures, bills being introduced, programs being discussed, anything that could potentially put more money in your pocket.
Absolutely. The goal is to keep you informed and help you navigate these potential shifts.
So even though we can't predict the future with 100% certainty, this deep dive has given us some really valuable insights.
It has. It shows how all these economic pieces fit together: the data, the Fed's actions, the potential for those EIPs, and it gives us a framework for thinking about what might be coming down the pike.
Knowing all this can help us make more informed decisions about our own finances and be prepared for whatever comes next.
Exactly. And we'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.